Hello again, everybody. This is day 5, Guilty Gear training stuff. But, before I get into all that, I'm going to change it up a little bit and make this kind of a summary of the last 4 days that I have been putting into this game. Basically, there's a whole reason why I'm trying to figure out this game, and it's because I want to learn fighting games. And some people, not a lot, but just a couple people, were interested in why, why am I bothering? Why fighting games? Why this game? Why bother? So, I figured, turn it into a video. Kind of. Sorta. I'm still streaming. It's a stream, so people will be popping in. But I wanted to kind of lay out a little bit my whole plan with this stuff, why I'm doing it, how I'm going about doing it, maybe help some other people out if they're trying to get into this type of thing, kind of if they want to be a little bit more serious about the game, they want to figure it out, they want to get good, and I think that's a fair thing to say, because chances are probably a lot of us, like me, a lot of people don't really play fighting games super serious. They just enjoy popping in, playing whoever they feel like, and then having a good time. Just mash out some combos, maybe play with a buddy, go online, get smashed around, maybe do some smashing, and it's all well and good. Which is fine. It's a good way to play the game, to be totally honest. But I wanted to do something different. I wanted to try and tackle this stuff. I just want to do well. And that's going to be one of my objectives with this game and basically with all the fighting games. So, let's go ahead and jump into the standard place that I like to jump into. This is my makeshift Dragon Install Trial is my favorite. Gives me a little bit of special. And the guy's health regenerates. Of course, I have my dog today. He's just been so obediently following me around playing video games. Okay, so here we are. This is my makeshift training room. So, I'll just start things off. Let me go find my little list of questions that I was asked. Some of this is stuff that I got off Facebook, forum posts, because, like everybody else, I need to go find research. I need to talk about the game, and get involved. I like to hear people's criticisms, but also it helps me figure out what's what. So, it's just a very short list, very simple, direct questions here. And I think it's a good idea to run them through, especially for the people interested, but for my own use as well, because I can look back on this and kind of see how I went through it, and I'll probably apply this method to any fighting game I play, and just kind of see the results and see if maybe I need to change the way I approach learning about fighting games or something, In any case, to start things off, this is a stream. Again, people will be popping in and hanging out and talking, I hope. I like it when people pop in and talk. I don't usually get a lot of people because this is just training mode stuff. But I do get a couple dudes, and they've been super helpful, by the way. Super. I would like to get their shoutouts, but I can't. I can't get their full names yet. Kazuki, I think it was, Siphon Gosmo or something like that. He was... Those two guys are really helpful. There was like a 4 or 5 guy who came in who showed me a few things. Yeah, just great stuff. In any case, to start things off, this is the proper starting point here. The first question I got: fighting game history and what's the whole purpose of this deal? And I kind of just covered that a little bit, but we'll retread ground just because my thoughts are a little erratic, and I didn't exactly organize this stuff. It's just kind of winging it. But in any case, fighting game history and the purpose. Well, fighting game history is pretty short. The biggest thing I could say is that I played fighting games forever. I've been a huge gamer. I've been playing games since Atari, since before I could walk. My uncle had a Pong machine, and I played with that, and I basically just drooled and slapped the joystick around. I still do that a lot of the times, but sometimes I actually play well. And so, yeah, I've got a lot of experience with video games. Part of that kind of approach to video games led me to fighting games. So I knew Street Fighter, I knew Mortal Kombat, I played those things, never seriously. Went to an arcade a few times, played a few people, very casual, no super spastic tier lists or anything like that. Just very straightforward. Have some fun, mash out combos, meet some people. And I was young when arcades were actually around and they were a thing. So, I didn't really get into it. I had a lot of older people who I would play with, and I was just happy that those guys would let me play. Because they were very big and also pretty good. They knew a lot of this stuff. They had played like Street Fighter and all that stuff. And Mortal Kombat 2 was the one that I remember playing a lot of, getting a lot of other dudes playing with me. And after a while, we would learn fatalities, and we would share our info and be like, "Oh, Reptile can do this really rad thing over here," and when he goes invisible, nothing really stood out as amazing as I want to learn how to play it. I didn't even know people did it in any tournament sense. I thought it was just people played these games like you would any other game. Fire up Gyromite, go play Gyromite. Fire up Street Fighter, go beat up the computer. I thought that was it. I didn't think people really played fighting games against other people that well. I didn't think they liked the competition. It turns out they do. And I didn't really get into any of that until probably later in the 2000s, before Street Fighter 4, but kind of on the tail end of like Marvel 2. I didn't realize people were doing stuff until around that area. Maybe some Third Strike before that or after that. I can't quite remember where the timeline was for that. But I remember distinctly figuring out tournament stuff existed for Marvel 2. And then when I started diving into that, thanks to the internet, that really opened up everything. I never had anything local. But once the internet really kicked in and people started throwing up YouTube videos, and before YouTube there was always forums and MIRC, whatever sort of thing you could get through, you could find it. That's when it opened up tournament-wise, and I started thinking, wow, fighting games are actually something people dedicate to. They take time out, they learn stuff, they get all these very specific, they really dedicate to it. They spend a lot of time figuring out how they can do this and that and the other thing. So that was pretty cool. But again, up till then, I just had played stuff, and I would play anything. Street Fighter was the first, really. It was Street Fighter 2, because Street Fighter 1 wasn't really Street Fighter, it was some other weird thing. But Street Fighter 2, and then all the weird additions, the Super Turbo, which I thought was kind of ridiculous that they would improve the same game that way. Like, here's why would you call it Street Fighter 2? Why wouldn't you call it 3? That type of thing. But in any case, from there, I played a lot of esoteric ones too, like the Double Dragon fighting game, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tournament fighting game, Eternal Champions. That was a game kind of spawned from the Mortal Kombat craze. I just kind of grabbed these things and played the computers in them. I didn't take them seriously, but I had a lot of fun. It was really fun getting fatalities and just kind of playing them as I would any other fighting game. Just jump in, play it, and whatever. I didn't think about it much. Plus I didn't have a lot of people to play against, so I'd have some friends come over. We might play what was that one? X-Men versus something or other. That sort of thing. 4 or 5, that's my buddy. How's it going, man? So anyways, I'm just trying to explain my backstory here, why I'm doing this whole deal. But yeah, that's my extension with fighting games. That's about all I really know with fighting games. Never took them seriously, never really did a bunch of stuff with them, just kinda played them. And somewhere around Street Fighter 4, when that officially dropped, I kinda played it a little bit, and I thought, this isn't really my game. It looks cool. I like following it. I like watching people play fighting games. And so that's when I really fell into the tournament scene and started watching people get good. Familiarized myself a bit with the fighting game community and started partaking in the threads, talking about fighting games, watching people play. That's about as far as it went. And then quite some years later, when Ultimate Marvel 3 dropped out, when that came around, I was like, wow. Or not Ultimate, but the first one, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I was like, wow. Deadpool's in it, and I'm a huge fan of Deadpool, and I like fighting games, so why don't I pick this game up and try and play Deadpool seriously, and I will seriously learn Deadpool. And I spent a lot of time trying to get Deadpool down. I mean weeks. I spent weeks trying to get that guy, just the basic stuff done with Deadpool. This was really hard. You had that cut into the wind or something like that. He would slide across the screen with an attack that comes out at the end with his katana blades, and that was like a really mainstay of the combos at the time. It was a really good heavy damage hit and stuff. And then I had to learn 2 other characters, which is where the flaw of that game hit me, because I wasn't really dedicated to anybody else. I just really wanted to play Deadpool. But I picked up Dante because I love those games. And the third guy kind of floated between like Hager, Ryu, I can't remember who else I got. I really just put someone there. After a while, when I started realizing tier lists, I kind of put like Wesker in there, kind of an anchor Wesker. I could never play those 2 guys very well. I learned Dante, I got his combos. Wesker was pretty straightforward, I kind of got his combos too, but I could never really bust him out online, and the online was really not good. It was very slow, it was not reliable. But in any case, I did try that game, and I did that for a number of months. I got okay, not really good. I could generally know what I was doing, but I guess a guy who really knew the game, like if somebody chose Spider-Man and basically put Spider-Man on point, and he did the zip line attack, you know, I was done. Like, I couldn't do anything against it. Even as Deadpool, I would spam my guns. He would find a way to slip in under me and just take me out completely. So that was my experience with that. And then Mortal Kombat 9 came out. I tried to give that a good run for it, and that ended up being pretty good. I got Noob Saibot down, and I got Baraka down, because I like that guy. My brother joined me a bit for that one. He played Smoke, and we did a tag kind of mode, and had a lot of fun with that. And that is when I was trying to be good. I was trying to get all the Noob Saibot's combos down. Baraka, I got all his combos down. He didn't really have a lot. He was very low tier in the game. Still is. But I did a lot of fun things, like I would charge attack with him, and then I would dash up, charge attack, dash up, and then grab. So the guy would think I'm just... all day long would think I'm just doing these charges, and then I would stop and go in for a grab and just kind of play that mind game. This is the only way I really won with Baraka when I think about it. I never really got any of his quarter combos to work online. That was really it. I picked up Street Fighter X Tekken, but I didn't like it long enough to really take it online. I did get pretty good with Cody. I really enjoyed playing Cody on that, and then later Lei Wulong. That was it. I mean, that's basically it. I've played some Tekken 6, and I didn't play Tekken Tag, but I didn't do any of that stuff online. It was all single-play stuff. So that's my history with fighting games. It was just casual, go play it, have some fun, just like any other video game. Until the later section when I kind of fell into the scene a little bit, and I liked it. I liked what I saw. I felt really like I could apply myself, I could figure it out, and I could do well, and I would like to do that. It was just one of the things I really wanted to learn to do. There's just endless resources to play fighting games. They're all over the place. The internet is just huge. It's got everything you could ever need. You just gotta know where to look for it and what's correct and what's not. So that's my history. And so I guess it's also why I decided to do it in the first place. It is a personal thing. I just want to learn fighting games. I get a lot of joy out off of learning a combo, being able to figure what the combo is off somebody else, and then being able to replicate it is... I don't really know why, but it's a joy for me. Like, I don't really care about coming up with combos. I don't need to be creative, and in fact, I'm really not a very creative person in that respect. But being able to replicate difficult ones that people have already found, that people can prove that they can be done. And then if I apply myself and learn how to do it myself, and I can get it, even if I can't get it reliably, if I could just do it. And you saw it in the past videos here that I've been uploading to YouTube. You could see how long I dedicate to getting the dust loops with this solo bad guy. Now I can actually do them. I feel pretty reliable. In a match, I'm going to try and do dust loops. That's my plan, is to try and get him in the corner, do something where I could start some dust loops. That's how good I feel about doing them. Where probably on day 2 of my training videos, I think I'm still struggling pretty heavily with those dusts. So you can see it took quite a few days, 2-3 days until I was comfortable enough to do other things that involve dust loops. that's my purpose. I get a real reward out of that. I don't really care about winning or losing and all that sort of stuff. I do, because that's the purpose of the game, but I just want my performance to be something where if somebody were to play me online, they would go, you know, this guy is alright. He seems to know this or that. He's no pushover. He's not a scrub. Maybe he's got bad tendencies. Maybe he's bad. Maybe he is a bad player, but he at least is applying himself and he's doing things. That's what I would like to give it, you know, to convey to people that I actually fight online with. It would just, it's just kind of a personal goal. And I really think I can do it. And I think a lot of people could do it. It's not super difficult stuff from my experience with Marvel and Mortal Kombat. It just takes some time. You just have to apply to it and do it. And the rewards can be very personal, you know. I realize there's no progress. You know, I'm not unlocking levels or anything like a standard video game reward system sort of thing. It is just all personal. And I think we've talked about that a few times before when I was streaming and doing this stuff. Now, it's a very personal trip, you know, it's just kind of your own thing. But that's it. To summarize that part, fighting games is a very recent thing for me. I'm developing a lot of skill off this game, and the whole purpose is very simply to get good at fighting games. I want to pick up a few of them. I want to try and go through the gauntlet and figure out all sorts of different ones. That's my goal. And that's part of my goal for this whole channel that I have here, this whole Twitch and this streaming. I'm streaming all sorts of games. I love streaming out all my games. But, you know, that's part of it is to get in the fighting games and stream those too. And to show people what I'm doing, and maybe they will feel a little bit more comfortable when they go through it. So maybe they'll have a framework. They'll actually see somebody who is struggling get through the stuff. That's my hope. It's all just a side project to have fun. I'm enjoying myself a lot. Get good, yes therefore. And hey, Kazuki, thanks for joining me, man. Hopefully you're having a good day today. I'm just kind of going through a list of why I'm bothering with these games, these fighting games and stuff. Yeah, because a lot of people are like, how come you're streaming fighting game? You're just in the training mode for the last 4 or 5 days. Where's your, you know, video games? This is my video game. I wanna learn this. I want to stream this stuff. I want people to, you know, realize that I am putting some work into this stuff, and I want to see if they think it's worth it. The type of work that I put into this game, and then take it online and see me lose, and, you know, maybe somewhere down the road I'll start doing good. They can judge for themselves if the time and the effort that I put into it is worth it to be good at a fighting game, you know? It's all just a side thing. And I have a lot of fun either way. So, second question I was getting, and welcome again, Kazuki. It's good to see you, man. I'm really happy that I've met both of you guys and the other dude, Sympho, whatever his name is you guys have been really, really helpful. Just coming in and talking it out. I've mentioned it several times, but I cannot stress how great that is to actually have somebody to talk to while I'm working on these things. So you guys definitely deserve your props. Kazuki, Slice, and 4 or 5. Anybody, let that be in the annals of YouTube history that you two are very helpful dudes for Guilty Gear Xrd. Second question here. I spent a lot longer on that than I thought I would. Why did I choose Soul Bad Guy and my alternative guy Chips Enough? It's pretty straightforward reasons on this one. My process of choosing characters is personal taste mixed with actual mechanic of what they do. So it's more really personal taste than it is the mechanics. Case in point, Deadpool. I love Deadpool and I used him. What is he? Mostly a zoner. And do I like zoning? Not really. Noob Saibot in Mortal Kombat, another zoner. Do I like zoning? Not really. I don't really have a taste because I haven't played enough fighting games to develop one. I'd like to say Rushdown, but I tried Wolverine Marvel and I was doing very, very bad. So maybe Rushdown isn't really my style. But in any case, it is my tastes. You know, it's what I look at. Does this guy look cool? And you look at Soul Bad Guy. I mean, this guy, barrel chest, white, brown, big ass hair, huge flame sword that looks like a lighter. Yeah, I think this is supposed to be the guy who appeals to edgy dudes. You know, I think this is the white guy's appeal. You know, that's he is. This is This is the character to appeal to like Mass Effect's balding muscular dude type of thing. So it is. It's looks. Chip's enough. He looks cool to me. Do I like ninjas? Maybe I do, because I like Deadpool a lot, but I never really played ninjas before. I didn't play, I didn't play Izuki or anything. I didn't play, what was that guy's name? Samurai Showdown had a ninja dude in it, had a couple ninja dudes in it. I didn't play any of them. I played, what was that guy's name? He had like a draw the sword type of style, long blue hair, big white robes, that sort of shit. You know, he was not a ninja, but he was fun as hell to play. In any case, it is looks. I like the look of Chip's enough. And Chip actually is going to come later, because right now it is all about Soul Bad Guy, because it's a demo. Hanzo. Was it Hanzo? And Wolf Dude. Hanzo was the ninja guy. Wolf Dude, he did have a wolf, didn't he? I can't remember. The guy I used to play is dead. He died chronologically in the Samurai Showdown thing. I think he died, and he hasn't been back since 4, I guess, or maybe it's 3. He had like, I don't know, some crappy lung disease. If you're Japanese, you die. That's all I really notice. A lot of fighting games, if you're from Japan, you eventually die. Galford? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's another dude too. I used to play the guy, the policeman with the 2 swords. I tried him out. He was kind of fun. In any case, tangent. What is going to happen, because I am just streaming. Yeah, my focus is Soul Bad Guy. Chips Enough is coming after I learned Soul Bad Guy, mostly because I think that the 2 characters are very unique. And from what I'm being told from a lot of different people, everybody in Guilty Gear is super unique. Everybody's going to play very differently. Chip seems like a very quick, rush down, kind of your standard ninja fighting game character. Soul Bad Guy is very well balanced, but he's not that quick. So I think it's more about kind of mix up with this guy. It's going to be about, you know, push him into a corner and do some good stuff. Maybe, I think either 4 or Kazuki, one of you guys said this dude is about throwing out special moves. If you love spamming special moves, utilizing them, kind of the high risk, high reward sort of stuff, this guy is good for that. And I'm already telling that just from learning the execution, getting the combo down. A lot of his stuff is about, when do you use this move? Well, when you think it's going to hit. That's really it. And as you can tell, Fafnir, as I have been told, Fafnir here is going to... That's going to be plus on block. So you could just throw that out whenever you think, hey, the guy's just chilling out. Maybe this will hit. Oh, it didn't hit, he blocked? No biggie. I can react before the guy can do anything, you know? It's definitely a character that is just about throwing those specials out. Chip, I think, is going to be very different. He's very rushdown, very quick, very fast, and he's not going to be about mashing out specials and hope it hits. I think he's going to be about getting in the character's face and applying so much pressure in so many different ways. And that's going to be very different from how I'm going to play Soul Bad Guy. And that feels very appealing to me, because it's kind of 2 different play styles, and it's going to give me a better taste of what I'm looking for in a fighting game. And just, it challenges me to, can I adopt to that strategy? And like I said, I've been doing that with zoners in some of the other games, like Mortal Kombat with Noob Saibot. Never zoned before, never focused on it, but Noob Saibot's all about that shit. Like, he kind of has to. As soon as someone's in your face as Noob Saibot, you're kind of done. I mean, you really need to make that space. I didn't know how to do any of that before. Deadpool was... I played Deadpool very split between zone and rushdown. He had huge advantage with his tools when it came to that, and I would do a lot of risks where I would cut into the wind after shooting some bullets just to snag a guy, because I know the guy's going to sit over there, he's going to try and jump or get through my bullets, whatever. And it would work, it would pay off. So it is about stretching myself and my understanding of fighting games in different ways, sure, but it's also taste. A lot of this is just driven by, I like how Soul Bad Guy looks, I like his specials, I like how he plays now that I've actually got him, and I'm putting my chips, if you'll excuse the pun, putting my chips on Chips Enough. Because I think he is going to play in a way that I will enjoy. And if it doesn't, at least I'll have figured out how that works. You know, what the other side of the coin is when you're just getting up in some dude's face. So that's why I am picking those up. And the very, very, very last consideration, and it is a consideration, and I would call myself conscious of it, is the tier list. And this is something that everybody who really wants to get into fighting games needs to at least see once in their life. You know, be not super aware, not focused, but where people stand with each other. I really think tier lists are vital for that. It helps. It really helps establish where you're going to be at. You know, what are your matchups like? It gives you an idea. The tier list is helpful in that regard. It's also frequently used by people who are more than just serious about fighting games. They want to be super serious about fighting games. They want to win every single time. They will look for that tier list. They will find the easiest, best character, and you know, they'll sacrifice some of the easy if it means, you know, leaps and bounds on the success. They'll grab whatever's top tier. That's fine. That's how video games are really designed to be. You got to find the best way to accomplish the mission in a video game, and in the fighting game, it is to win. There's really no way around that. I don't like to see it that way. I enjoy playing fighting games just to have fun. I really do. I want to be good at them, but I still need to play them to win. You know, it's a very strange balance of what do I find fun? Winning? Is winning important, or is playing well important? Which one do I want? What am I willing to sacrifice to do one or the other, or both? You know, it's kind of those questions. I don't care where Soul Bad Guy and Chip ultimately land on the tier list, but because I am tier conscious, I do know that Soul and Chip are above the halfway point. If you've got a 50-50, a top and a bottom list, just a very simple, straightforward list, I know Soul and Chip are on the top. I don't know if they're way up there. I don't know if they're just straddling the line. I don't know anything about that, and frankly, the game's not even out yet. I'm playing the demo. I don't know what people... I don't really think a tier list can be possible until people are playing the game, it's out on consoles, everybody's online, and just doing all sorts of stuff. When that's gone down, then we can get like a real accurate... People can really break down the tier list and say, this is really good because of this and that. Right now, I think we just have people playing in Japan. I mean, that's about the only way you can really come up with a tier list right now. And that's going to change. That's just not going to remain constant. And tier lists tend to always get revised, and I don't think there's ever really a time where every single person can agree absolutely on one single tier list. You kind of just get generalist kind of responses, you know what I mean? You kind of have... In any case, that's enough ranting about tiers. I like to call myself tier conscious just because I like to know where the characters are. I try not to let that factor in, but it is kind of a factor. Like, if I really, really liked Soul Bad Guy and he was somewhere near way the bottom of the list, I would play him, but I would play him like I did Baraka. I played Baraka very casually, very lightly. I played him a lot, but I didn't say, okay, I'm playing this guy to win. I would play him and go, I'm playing this guy to see what I can get away with. Because he is so low tier, he can get beat out by just about anybody else in the roster. And then when I won, it felt great, and I knew I got away with it. You know, I know I stole that win, because Baraka should not be winning in that respect. But that's the only real consideration with tiers. So that's why I'm choosing those characters. That's why I'm jumping on. I guess another thing I should mention: Soul Bad Guy is gonna be one of the main guys. And when I say main guys, I kind of mean he's supposed to be new friendly. I'm not really sure how to describe this perfectly, but I think in the community, a lot of times Shoto characters, I don't know what Shoto means, but Shoto characters are generally considered pick up and play friendly, new guy friendly. They have moves that are very straightforward, that are applicable to many situations, so you don't have to go as deep with the character. You don't need strict execution, you don't need to be deep in knowledge. It's a character that is supposed to be out of the box friendly. Soul Bad Guy is supposed to be like that, and I guess the other dude, Kai Kisuke, I think they're both supposed to be pretty Shoto, kinda grab out of the box worthy. I think for Kisuke it's going to be a lot more work. He seems to have more going on than Soul Bad Guy. This guy, Honestly, I can't say for sure exactly how easy it's been to pick this guy up and learn him. I mean, the videos that I have on YouTube, they're pretty long. I have spent a lot of time figuring this guy out. And even at this point, I'm still not, like, I'm maybe 70% confident in my ability to execute most things with this guy. I think it's going to be the easiest way of getting into a complicated game, and that's probably the best way to do it. Guilty Gear feels complicated. There's a lot more mechanics than you're ever going to see in Street Fighter, and it is an anime game, which means just by default there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that, there's a lot of stuff. There's always a lot of stuff. You've got bursts, and you've got Roman cancels, you've got, you know, faultless defenses, you've got the counters there, you've got the, whatever this is called, the you know, counterattack. If you're defending there, you can counterattack. It's a lot. I think that comes from it being anime-based game, but it's also Guilty Gear. So Guilty Gears came before a lot of other things, probably maybe the first sort of deal that really, you know, threw in a lot of stuff. You know, it kind of feels, anime fighters kind of feel like everything but the kitchen sink type of fighting game, which is great, but it's also a lot to remember. So even though that's a lot of stuff to think about and to learn, Soul Bad Guy is supposed to make that easier. He's supposed to be the easiest. Doesn't make it easy, but it's supposed to be easier. So that's another reason why I grab him. It would be the equivalent of picking up like Ryu in Street Fighter, because he's a Shoto character. He's designed for people who don't know how to play the game well. 4 or 5, I'm sorry that I am saying it that way. You make a good point. 4 or 5 really hates how people lump all these games as anime fighters. I don't mean that derogatively at all. It's just, when I think of an anime fighter, Persona 4, you know, this game, Melty Blood, I think of stuff like this. You know, a lot of mechanics, a lot of air dashing, a lot of movement, a lot of speed, a lot of color, a lot of flash. All this stuff. I mean, there's just so much going on. There's so much color and effects and eye candy going on. And it all plays a role. It's all important. You know, it's all there to show you something. You need to know that information. But it's still a lot, and it's in your face. And all anime fighters have that in common. Again, I don't mean it derogatively, but, you know, I suppose in a way it always sounds that way. I don't mean to demean the games when I call them anime fighters. It's just kind of, to me, it feels like a genre of its own. It feels like a subcategory of fighting game genre. You know, it's not, maybe it's got some negative subjection with it. Maybe some people kind of view it negatively. I honestly don't know. I've never had problems. I've never felt that they were inferior fighting games. I've always thought that they were great. I really sucked at Persona Arena, but I really enjoyed the time that I learned that character, you know, the kind of the quote unquote main character sort of dude, very tricky kind of player. But I liked it. I like all that air dashing and all that stuff, and it's not like other games don't have air dashes. I mean, Marvel's got characters with air dashes and all that sort of stuff, but it is what it is, and I don't know how else to describe it. And hopefully maybe someday someone will come up and say, you know what, why don't we just call them colorful fighters, or fast fighters, or complicated fighters, or good fighters. You know, they can call it whatever it wants, but from what I hear, anime fighter, that's what I hear a lot of. So I tend to use that. So I apologize. If it ruffles your feathers, I do understand. Enough about that. Too much. Any case, that's also why I choose Soul Bad Guy. He is a friendly character I'm supposed to learn. It is kind of like learning Ryu in Street Fighter, and that's a good way to start learning fighting games. Is choosing a guy is kind of easy to figure out. Although I, again, wouldn't call Soul Bad Guy easy. It's been a chore. I got a third question here. Give me a quick second. let me 4 or 5 keeps bringing up good points, so let me reiterate what he's saying. People lump the communities that play these games as the same people who all just fought the next anime game. Yeah, anime games share a lot of similarities, and it's about as different as you can get from, say, Tekken to Street Fighter. You know, people play 3D games and they don't play Street Fighter. They don't play anime games. They play Tekken. They play Dead or Alive. They play Virtua Fighter. They stick to those games because that's what they know, and there's a universal sense that transfers from one type of that game to the other. Anime fighters, same deal. Capcom fighters, I guess you would call them Capcom fighters for Street Fighter, 2D kind of stuff. I don't really know how further to describe what Street Fighter is, really. I guess just Capcom fighter. They share in those mechanics. There's an underlying kind of thing that you can bring over. So I like to think that, even though you're right, communities lump these players together and they all just flock the next anime game. Yeah. But, everybody does that. The next Tekken guy is going to go over to DOA or whatever 3D fighter is out there. And I've been hearing that happen since Tobal number 1. People would play freaking Bloody Roar, then they would move on to Tobal number 1, and they wouldn't try anything else. Maybe they'd play that, what was it, Star Gladiator or something like that. God, people did not like to jump into subcategories of fighting games. They really do lump them into the one thing. I don't want to say that it's bad for people to jump into the next section of game, because a lot of the times they do kind of feel like it's an upgrade from what they were just playing. But I do think that is a natural progression for a gamer in general. Like, you would not want to go back to an old Call of Duty if you are playing Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare, whatever the current day Call of Duty is. People want to jump to the latest one. They want to stick to that. Just look at the Smash community. They're doing the same thing despite so much backlash over the competitive scene losing out on a bunch of features and a bunch of stuff. They're still jumping over. They went from Melee to Brawl to whatever it is now. I don't know what the subcategory of the current one is. But they do it. They go over and they upgrade and they play the latest one, and they say, we don't care about the competitive scene. We don't care that wave dashing is no longer in, or tripping and this and that and the other thing. They just do it. Same thing with this type of stuff. Everybody's always going to upgrade, and I guess people do kind of say, "Oh, why learn an anime game when they'll just go play the next anime game? Why learn Naruto and the next thing's going to come out when the next DBZ is coming out?" You could really say that for a lot of things. I really think you could. And I don't know why anime games get pushed for it. I don't know why they get, negative incensed for it. But whatever the reason is, it just kind of is. And I'm totally getting way off. As you can see, I love talking about video games. And it's going to be very difficult to stay on track, because I'm streaming and I want to talk to people and stream. Let me move on to the third point. 4 or 5, you do have a great point. And I'm making sure everybody hears your side of it. Yes, people do absolutely lump the communities into that thing, and then they just move on to the next game, and they are treated kind of shitty. I hopefully I will never treat somebody that shitty. Maybe if they're Smash players, but just mostly most people I don't want to treat shitty. I promise. Third question is basically the final sort of final question. How do you go about learning the game? This is pretty straightforward, because the last bunch of videos that I've put on YouTube show exactly what it is I'm doing. Let's see if I can filter my thoughts appropriately. The first thing I tend to do when getting into a fighting game is, besides selecting a character, which I think is obviously the first thing people have to do, is just learning, not like the mechanics so much, but how everything feels in my hand. Like, all this basic stuff I'm doing here. The movement kind of feels like that, the rushing, the crouching, the jumping, the moving. Getting a feel for the walk speed, stuff like that. I'll just kind of do stuff like this. Get a feel for what all the basic things are. That's kind of the first step. And then once I get sort of, okay, this is how all this stuff works, how do I put it into use? What is the function of all these things? And the way that I like to do it, because I'm not a very smart guy, I like to put things like into practical use, and that basically means learning combos and developing execution. That's kind of how I like to do it. I think a lot of people are smarter than I am, and they will go online and read most execution requirement thing, most combo requirement thing. They will simply know, okay, this move, is going to have so many frames, it's going to be like this and that, I can use it whenever because it's going to be, a free move, basically. Nobody can punish me, it doesn't matter what happens, nothing can branch out from this move. I think most people come in with that type of mindset. Me, I like to start the game up, look for a combo, see how they do it, get the notation, get the commands down, and then do my best to replicate it. You guys saw that, right away. It's the first thing I did with the demo after doing the arcade mode and going through the trials, normally, which is also a good way to learn a fighting game. Is just do the trials, even if you feel like you can do most of them, because they're pretty simple, move, up, jump, whatever. They do eventually get kind of technical, and they help you out. They might provide a combo or two that you can, develop a little bit of combo and execution with. But in any case, combo and execution, that's the main point, and it's the one point that people don't really like to spend time on. They much prefer to choose a character that's kind of favorable out of the box, and you just kind of hit like some really heavy stuff with, and just see how it goes. I want to learn and get better, and so that means putting time towards combos and executions, because I want to be able to maximize the amount of hits that I can achieve in a game or in a match. Wherever those hits are, I need to be able to come up with a proper answer to those hits. I want to be able to extend them as far as I can go. It's not going to work out that way when you start, but you're going to slowly work towards a point where you realize you can get more things out of certain hits than you were before. It's a very, practice makes perfect sort of thing, and you could be told this, you could be told do this combo each and every time, but I feel in the pace of a match, you're going to kind of not be fully cognitive of everything you can do. You're really falling back on just your instincts. What do you want to do? What have you trained yourself to do? That's where all this comes out. That's why I've been spending the last 4 days in here. It's getting execution. It's knowing that I can hit him like that. It's not like I can come in and just do something like that. Like I can do that now. If I had never come into here and did that, if I came in and hit a guy like that, honestly, that's probably the most I ever would have gotten out of that combo. If I were to snag a guy in the corner, I'd do that. That's about it. I wouldn't even cancel, like, specials into normals. That's just how it would be for me, because I'm falling back on my muscle memory, the anticipation, just the excitement of the match. What could happen? What is happening? It's all blocking out my ability to think. So I need to fall back on my instinct and let that take over. I need to let the feelings of what I'm seeing be able to drive my actions. Combos and execution. Those are the two things that come out when my mind is blank and I am simply trying to act and react on what I'm seeing on screen. I'm not thinking about it, but I'm just feeling it out. Kazuki here. They put a lot of work in trials and the missions in this ones, where they teach you to get out of certain Oki setups like Kai's meaty 6HS and probably stuff like Mila's disc. That makes me pretty excited. Good, that's great. Trials in fighting games tend to be kind of hit and miss. They don't really give you everything you need to know. But lately, I think there's been a pretty good push making trials more comprehensive. There used to be a time where they would just kind of dump you with the basics, move up, down, left, right, here's block, here's punch, here's kick. They give you a couple combos and that would be it. They wouldn't talk about meaties, like what Kazuki say. What's a meaty? I don't even know that terminology that well myself. I think a meaty is basically when you attack somebody who's waking up and you hit them with the active frame of your kick before they fully stand. So like when my foot is fully extended out there, that's when an active frame will actually hit the character, and he will stand up, at the exact same moment that this becomes a lethal hit. And so he has no option, because the first frame he's able to react, he's got my foot in his face. So he has to do something on that frame to make sure that this doesn't hit him, which is a block. So I guess that would be meaty. If he doesn't know that that's going to happen, or he doesn't block in time, he doesn't think I got the timing down, he's going to get hit. The first frame of him being able to do anything at all, he's going to get hit. I think that's meaty. In any case, that's terminology that I am not that familiar with. Kind of just pulled that one out of my ass. But in general, you're looking for execution and combos. It all feeds into muscle memory, and in order to feed into a muscle memory, you need repetition. That's what I rely on. I think that's what everybody relies on. I don't think anybody really plays a fighting game from their brain. I think maybe they do, but those dudes are pretty rare. I don't think you can really do that, not unless you have like tons and tons of fighting game experience. You're like top of the topmost tier players. They probably can think that way. They're probably relaxed, and they've seen every single thing the game can throw at them, which is a lot of variations. And I mean, they still don't know absolutely everything, because I think if people typically did, they wouldn't be very interesting to watch. And they are interesting to watch. Top tier players getting to situations are like, wow, I don't understand exactly what's happening here. I don't know what he's going to do, and I don't know what could come from the things he's doing. So I have to play very smart, I have to play careful. That's where it really gets interesting. So you can't really play from your brain, and especially if you're starting, you just need that muscle memory. You need to be able to wipe your mind out and just do whatever comes naturally from whatever it is that you manage to do in the game. You get a grab, you need to be able to do something with it, just anything. The more time you spend in training mode, the more you're going to get out of that grab. That really comes down to what getting good at a fighting game is about, is just get that repetition in you, do it over and over. And that's why I've got 4 days worth of videos up on my YouTube playlist. I've got like 10 or 11 videos in the playlist right now of just me playing this demo, just in this trial mode, and just getting that stuff done. 4 or 5 mentioned that the trials teach you option selects. That would be for this game specifically, which is really cool. Yeah, it might even cover Slayer's backdash cancel. The trials might get that specific, which would be really great. More specific a trial, the better you are prepared. And it also, instead of going to training mode, be like, okay, you have to read online and then go into training mode and recreate a scenario so you can practice it. If a trial has it preset for you, that's great. That's really, really great. Maybe they don't really know to have that stuff yet, because it's kind of hard to figure out what it is people need to train, so they don't really want to put the trials in. But whatever the reason, fingers crossed that they managed to come up with some really good trials in this one. And it's always helpful, whatever they do come up with, even if it's some basic stuff, it's always worth doing. So that's what I do to learn these combos. That's what I do to learn a fighting game right off the bat. Muscle memory, repetition, the combos, and the execution. I just go in here and jerk off for hours, just doing whatever I can come up with. Try and develop strings that I want to use in a match. Like yesterday, you guys saw me doing this, doing that thing. So like, you're gonna see this a lot when I actually go online. I'm gonna go in here. My fingers are freezing. I can't. There we go. So I'm gonna do something like that, but I'm going to not drop it. See, that's a mid-screen thing. If I'm anywhere not near a corner and I just want to run up and poke the guy, that's it. I'm just going to run in, check your feet, and then I'm going to do this whole thing, because that sweep there is not that punishable. It's punishable, I think, but not that punishable. Or I could, I could fake out like that or something. It's an okay combo to start, and it's something I can do. That's what I'm spending a lot of my time on. It's just getting that stuff down. And that's only after I'm able to do, when I'm comfortable with combos, like the dust loop. The dust loop's important to Soul Bad Guy, so I focused on that, and I got it down enough that I feel reliable to put it in combos, and I'm going to try them in matches. And 4 or 5, again, is basically agreeing with me. fighting games are too fast to think each and every movement. You need to train the instincts to do things proper. You know, it's exactly right. Handling the larger macro strategies and simulating your opponent's thoughts, because not only do you need to think about what you are doing, you need to think about what your opponent's doing. So if you can stop your thinking on what you are doing, if you could just let your memory be like, oh, this looks like that. You know, when I'm in training mode, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to let my muscles take over. I'm just going to go through the repetitive grind that I was in training mode, and I'm going to bring it out for this match because I got that hit. Since that's all I'm doing, my mind is free to think, okay, what happens next? He's going to get up from a knockdown. Do I want to hit him in the feet? Do I want to jump and hit him in the head? Do I have a trick that I want to pull up? Do I have a mix-up? You know, or maybe you're thinking, this guy, what is this guy going to do? He's going to wake up DP, which, you know, this is kind of your move that you use in fighting games to get people the hell off you. You know, if they're going in on you and they're just mashing buttons and they won't respect you at all, just pop them. You just pop them with that. There's invulnerability frames, so even if a guy is just coming out with all these swings, you're invincible. For the startup portion of this move, you're just invincible. You can't be hurt. So you might as well throw it out there and just tell them to back off. That's the stuff you get to think about. You want your mind to be clear to think about that stuff. If your mind isn't clear, then you don't get to think about that stuff. Instead, you're sitting here thinking, boy, I wish I could do a lot more with this opening that I just got, you know, or I wish I could hit him more, I wish I could get more damage. And then the other guy, if you're going to go online, you're going to run into people who are spending time in this mode, and they're going to be like, you know, they're going to take off, you know, 30 to 50% of your health in maybe one combo that uses some tension, and you're just going to be like, wow, you know, when I hit him, I only do like 10-20%, you know? It's important stuff to work on, and I get it. That's really why fighting games probably don't take off as much as they should be, could be, would be, whatever, because it is dedication. I have no experience with MOBAs. I've never played one. I've watched quite a few of them, you know, Dota and League of Legends, all that stuff. And that stuff looks more approachable. You don't need a huge amount of strategy to get into it, but I think you do once you start getting... Once you've hit the point of good, you kind of have some strategy. If you want to be great, you need to really develop strategy, and I guess a working team, too. Fighting games, it's really not the same. There's no real middle ground. You either know your combos and know when to use them and know how to put them into a match, or you don't. You're either really bad or you're really good. I don't think there's much of a middle ground. There can be. You can have a bit of a middle ground where you're just really smart. Like, you know that this guy's coming in for a throw, so you counter it. You know, you make really smart decisions. You make really smart risks. Like, you know, this move right here, that's a big risky move. But if I know he's going to do something on the ground and I'm going to avoid it, bam, you know, that's punishable. That's a smart move. Maybe you're really good at that stuff. Well, even if you are, you know, what happens now? You know, you have no muscle memory, you don't know what to do, you can't really think about it, and it's over. That's my approach to how I figure out fighting games. A very step approach. I get into the game, I choose a character that I like, preferably one that's easy or kind of designed to be picked up by new players, so a bad guy in this case. And I find some combos, preferably easier ones, and then just work on harder ones. I get the easy ones down so I can kind of figure it out. Might have done it a little bit differently with Soul Bad Guy because I knew how important the dust loops are. These guys right here are pretty important. So I wanted to get that first. Well, kind of first. I wanted to work on it first, I guess I should say. I knew there would be a lot more after the dust loops. So, it wasn't like I was ignoring the other ones, but I did home in on that one first. Either way you look at it, that is the objective. Get the muscle memory down. I can't say that enough. It really is the backbone of the fighting game world. If you want to go online and you want to just do well, if you want to do well, you will always see rewards sitting in a training mode and just mashing out some combos, no matter what it is. Even if it's a shitty 4-hit combo that, you know, knocks them down. I mean, just something like this, you know, make this super quick. If I were to use this combo in a corner, at least I have that combo. At least I'm not just throwing it away by doing nothing. You know, like, I'm getting something out of it. I'm doing something. It's all worth it. Every minute in training mode will translate in a match. That's how most of these fighting games work. At the very last thing that I put priority on, excuse me, it's not actually the very last thing, and we're getting pretty much done with my explanation of this whole thing. Just a quick review for you guys that are in here. I'm just talking this stuff out because I've been throwing up all my videos on my YouTube, and this is a whole process for me. I'm trying to show people me just learning Guilty Gears. That's really what I'm trying to do. I don't really know if anybody's going to watch it or not, but it's a fun project. I'm just trying it out. In any case, the last thing one of the last things I do, I guess the second to last thing I do, is learn about the properties of moves and things like that, like mix-ups. After I've got my combos and how to put those combos into use in an actual match, that I save for later. And it's kind of a two-sided thing for me. Like I said before, I'm not a very brainy dude. I don't take well to instructions. I don't learn things well by being told. I've never been a book guy. Much better getting my head pounded and figuring things out that way. I like the experience. I don't mind the loss. I do mind the loss, but I don't mind learning. If I lose and I can walk away and say, okay, wrong, that works really well for me. I like that stuff. What that translates to, basically, I don't know what the frame advantages are on my moves. I don't really know the property of my moves all that well. An example, this guy right here, Gunflame. I thought that move would probably be a low-hitting move. Like, it hits the feet, you know? It's not a high move, or I figured it would hit the low. Well, it's not classified as a low. This is not a low hit. I can't, like, do this and then come in and hit him on the head and have a low and a high come in at once. It won't register that way, because this is just a move. If he ducks and blocks it and I hit him with the overhead, that works, but if he stands and blocks it, he will block both attacks. I didn't know that. I had to look that up. That is something I would have found out through trial and error. One day I just would have done it, would have yellow canceled, bopped him on the head, and realized, okay, both hits he blocked just by standing blocking. That's how I work, is just trial and error sort of stuff. The drawback of that is just, I don't know a lot of stuff. I did not know Fafnir was advantage on block. That means that I get to act before he does. If he blocks this, I get to do things before he gets to do things. That's basically what that is. I wouldn't have known that unless these guys came into the chat and told me that that's what that is. And I of course know what frame advantage is, only because, again, I read it. You know, you don't really follow fighting games for very long and not pick up the terminology a little bit as you go. Even if you don't know things like meaties, because I tried to give my half-ass explanation of what that is. Another example is the Oki setup that Kazuki mentioned earlier from Trials. You know, I don't know what that is. I think that's Okizemi. I think that's a term anime fighting game players use to describe the mix-up situation. I'm not certain. That's just a terminology I'm not aware of, really. But that's the general sense of what I'm talking about. Of my style is just to go in and do things and kind of figure it out as I do, trial and error. If I was smarter, I could go online, I could look at the frame data of all my moves. I could say that this is like, you know, a 3-frame active move. You know, this might be like a 5-frame move, but it's only active from frames 2 to 4. There's a lot of smart dudes like that who play fighting games, and I think they tend to have a lot of success in fighting games. They're not smart, like, in a match they're not thinking, but when the match is done and they're doing research, like, I think that's where they really start to shine, because they know where this stuff is going to happen, when it's going to come out, what it's going to do, before they ever get into a match. Me, I need to come in here and know that if I hit this heavy swing, I need to be punished. I need someone to kick my ass to really instill it into my head that, hey, stop using this move. If it does not connect, chances are if you're just throwing it out, it's not going to connect. Your ass is going to get creamed. Knock it off. You know, that's for me. That's how I do it. That's the second to last. The very, very last is definitely... I'm sorry, that was actually the last. The second to last is learning the mix-up. Like, when I got this guy knocked down, when he's down, what can I do, you know? And you guys saw that in, like, the last 2 videos. I was directly asking both these 2 guys in the chat right now, what do I do? What are my options? And they were telling me, you know, you can come in for a head thing, you can do this little thing here, so that you get a little mix-up there. You got 3 overheads and you get 1 on the feet. You get a low hit. I didn't ask that until I was comfortable enough with some of my combos and some of my execution. I still need to work on both those things, and that's what most of this, you know, my time is going to be with this game. With this demo, it's just getting the execution and the combo, continually developing it, because I'm still not perfect. But now I have that kind of information too. That stuff is second to last. The last stuff is, like I was saying earlier, the frame data. I don't know frame data. I do that by trial and error. I think smarter people are going to go online and they'll look at lists and they'll be like, okay, this is plus advantage, this is, you know, minus, this can be punished, this won't be because of how much time I'm spent in animation, so somebody can hit me if I miss. They do it that way. It's really not my way though. It's too much brain work for me. I'm not a smart dude like that. Yeah, that is my approach to learning fighting games. And this is really the first fighting game that I'm taking this kind of approach at and documenting it. This is generally how I learned to do Marvel, and how I learned to do Mortal Kombat, and how I learned to do Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I never put in enough time with those games to get good. I wouldn't say I gave up, but Marvel was the one I actually spent several months learning to do well in it, and I still don't do well in it. Mortal Kombat, I actually did okay throughout my entire couple months of playing that game. Street Fighter X Tekken, I did really well at the start, but I think I only did it for a couple weeks, and then I got really tired of the game. It wasn't fun after that, even after they threw in Lei Wulong, which is my Tekken guy. I love that guy. I was just not interested in playing that game. After learning him and Cody, I just spent a bunch of training time. Never really took it online. I did every once in a while, but it wasn't my style. It wasn't my game. Didn't like it. So unfortunately, a lot of people didn't like it. So this is going to be the first time I'm really sitting around and dedicating to this deal. I'm looking forward to it because it's really fun. I'm enjoying everything that I've done so far. And again, this is just the demo, so I don't have the choice of going online or anything yet. But I'm learning everything I need to learn anyways. If this was the official game, you would still see me in training mode right now. I would be in training mode, I would be doing all this stuff. I might have gone online a few times by now just to kind of put some of the things I knew, even though my execution would be weak, even though my combos would be weak, just to change it up, just to kind of do something. I might have gone online already by now. But for the most part, I think most of the time I would have sat in training mode and done exactly what you guys are seeing. So, that is the 3 questions. Those are the 3 questions that I generally got. There wasn't a lot of people asking, but I had 1 or 2 of my buddies, really, that were like, why are you bothering? This looks like a lot of work. It doesn't look fun, you know? Why do you want to be competitive in a video game? Why are you taking it seriously? It's just a neat challenge, and it is a challenge because you're competing against other people who, I think especially in Guilty Gear, are going to be really, really good with this game. From what Forer and Kazuki have told me before, and from everything I've read online, the talent of the last Guilty Gear game, the skills and everything people did, it will 90% translate into this version of Guilty Gears, into this new game. So I'm expecting to encounter a lot of people who are really, really good. The kind of other side of it is that I think there's also going to be a lot of people like me who want to pick it up because it looks pretty and it's very new. That should draw in some new players who are not good, who are not fighting game players. Maybe they're casual players like I have been before I tried to, tackle a bit more seriously. I don't really know. I think there will be. 4 versus really, really good. Yes. I mean, I think the guy right now is streaming. His name's Sympho Maniac or something like that. He has a video with the kind of execution that I have seen top players have in old videos of Guilty Gear, way back, like Dreamcast era. He's able to do stuff right away. When this demo dropped at the end of last month for Japanese players, people picked it up and they played it. He was already mashing out dust loops. Dust loops to him were pressing the light punch button to me. Like, even now, he can just drop them. And I don't think he is a player who is particularly fantastic at the game. I think he's just a really, really good player. Probably because he's got all that old experience, and it translates to here. He can bring it over to here, and he spends a lot of time in training mode too. He's up right now, I think, streaming his stuff. He's just that dedicated. He really loves playing the game, and he does really well. 4 or 5 here, and Kazuki, both of these dudes have been playing it a long time. I know Kazuki's even going on cosplay as it. That's a man who's dedicated. If a man is going to dress up as his favorite character, he's not doing that for some shit game. He's doing it for a series he loves. So that's the type of people. I'm expecting to get my ass beat by people who are dressed as the characters they are playing at that very moment. So I have to be ready. I'm going to be up against people who will not care that I will lose. They will be very happy to beat me. 4 or 5 says that there might actually be people out there playing for 10 plus years. Just think about that. 10 plus years. That's training mode as well as actual matches for 10 years. And it's the same game. I'm not saying it's Call of Duty. I'm not saying the first Call of Duty is the same as the last one. I mean, there's a lot of similarities. Because it's a first-person shooter, you're still generally doing the same thing. But it's not that easy to translate to, but it's very close. Very, very close. Especially if you've been playing that long. My goodness. And in fighting games in general, you can translate from some to another, a less amount. Like I said, I've done Marvel, and I did Street Fighter X Tekken, and I did Mortal Kombat, and I messed around on Tekken 6 on my PSP for like a month or 2, just fighting the computer all day. That stuff has helped me pick up Soul Bad Guy faster than I think I typically would have. The last 4 days could have been really, really not as good as what you see now. Like, I probably still wouldn't have dust loops down as well as I have them now if I did not have that prior experience. So I am bringing over experience from just other types of fighting games, despite not taking them that seriously. Especially my knowledge of, like, teching throws and all that stuff. I think it's a little different in this one, though, right? You need to use X. I think this one is about hitting 2 buttons together. I think it's something like that. I don't think it's called option select. It's in order to tech a throw is basically... what was it? Well, you know what? I'll think about it later. I can't remember. There was a trial about how typically 2 buttons are used together in order to, tech a possible throw. So if I go in here and I want to do this, but he's going to throw me, or he's looking to throw me, if I hit 2 buttons, I guess if I hit at the same time I get that, which is no good. But if I were to hit like 2 buttons and have just this come out and then also cover a possible throw, something like that. In any case, I'll figure that shit out later. That's not what we're here for. That's it. I think that covers pretty much everything. That's the whole reason I'm doing the fighting games. That's my history. That's how I approach this stuff. People who are looking to play this game, maybe they can benefit a little bit from this video, just to adopt my methodology a little bit. It's very rudimentary. I think most people are going to tell you to do what it is that I do, is go into a training room and just play. Just mash out some combos, find stuff you're comfortable with, and have a good time with it. That's really If you're not having fun, then don't bother with fighting games. If you're not having fun learning the training mode, chances are fighting games isn't really something you want to get into that much. Maybe you're happy just fighting your brother or something very casually, and that's fine. I mean, there's no problem with that. But I realized lately that if I don't know how to play a game and I go online with it, and I have to competitively play other players, it really takes down the enjoyment of the game for me. That's the trial. They're teaching you option selects without ever saying the word. That's the deal. Option select. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo that one. See what the two buttons were. That it was. I read somewhere that people for Soul Bad Guy generally use this button and heavy button to do it. But the thing is I'm getting this. Don't know why I'm getting that when I do the option there. That doesn't help me any. I guess if I press forward, it actually. Yeah, if I press forward, it seems to do. So I guess if I press forward in these two buttons, this is an option select. It will stop them from throwing me. I'll tech their throw. But if they aren't throwing me and they're doing something other than blocking, my slash will come out and hit them, and I can do something with that. See how quick that is. I can do something with it. But yeah, that's the trial. That's what I was thinking of. Whew. How long is this video? I have no idea how long I've been doing this. I don't have a time count or anything on it. I'm just streaming, and I was asked this question last night, I think over Facebook, and then over the forum that I like to post on. So hopefully I covered everything that was there. This is also... Hopefully people are viewing my videos. It looks like some people are checking out my videos. So if people are like, what the hell is this guy even doing? Why does he have 4 days worth of videos of him sitting in a training room? This is my explanation of that. So hopefully I can just kind of point people to this video and say, hey, you want to, this is what I'm doing with fighting games. If I'm not playing normal games, this is what I'm doing. And you're probably going to see me play a lot of fighting games. I want to play more of them. And they're very fun kind of time fillers between, big title games. I think we have another we have possibly 3 months, 2.5 to 3 months until the next game I'm looking for comes out, which I'm not certain which it is. I think it might be the game where you play as a huge monster, and you have like a squad of 4 other dudes chase you down. You have to beat them up as one monster. Evolved or something like that. I know Batman, the next Batman game's coming out. I'm looking forward to that. I'd like to pick that up. It looks pretty nice. All that stuff. Once those games are out, I'm picking them up. I'm playing them. But in the periods in which there are no games, I want to fall back on fighting games to just have something to stream. Play it for a couple hours, an hour or two, depending on how much time I have in my life. Because everybody's got to work these days. Time is hard to get a hold of sometimes. But in general, I'm going to be playing a lot of fighting games. So I'll probably do videos like this for all the fighting games I play, where I just kind of run down my methodology to figuring out the game. So we'll probably see more of this type of stuff. I guess the next one's going to be Injustice. That one drops for PlayStation Plus people for free next month. And I want to pick that up. I want to do some training mode with that. Thinking maybe Batman and Deathstroke. Again, whatever particular reason, because they look cool to me. That's really it. I hear Batman's pretty good. Deathstroke got nerfed, from what I understand. But I'll figure him out. He's kind of a zone guy. But we'll see how that works. Deathstroke's kind of the Deadpool for DC. I don't know which came first. I think Deathstroke did, but in any case, that's generally why I'm choosing those guys. I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to be in training mode with that for a couple days. I'll take that online. Not taking it as seriously as this one, because Injustice is based off the Mortal Kombat sort of engine, and I had my fill of that one with Mortal Kombat 9. And kind of sort of had my fill with Mortal Kombat versus DC. Plus, Injustice has been out a long time. I think a lot of people are very good at it. There might be a small resurgence of new players because of the PlayStation Plus free title dropping for it next month. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, really. But in general, it's going to be pretty hard. It's going to be hard to pick up and learn because there's already a lot of established people on it and very few new players. and it's just kind of generally a title I haven't really thought about. So, but I do want to pick it up and play it at least, because it is a free title. And so far, I've picked up all the free titles and given them like about an hour's time. You know, I picked up Binding of Isaac, and I didn't really like it that much. But I did pick up SteamWorld. What was it? SteamWorld Dig. Loved that game a lot. I wish I had managed to save all my videos of it, because that was a really, really chill game, and it was just a free thing I never heard of before. But yeah, that's my goal. That's kind of the future for now. So that's it. That's everything here. I covered everything. Sorry for that massive rant for and Kazuki. I know you guys are bored as hell. I gotta get back to training, but what I am going to do is cut off the video. I'm going to turn off my stream. Give me a couple minutes, maybe like 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to be right back. And I think in the next video what I'm going to do is cycle through all the combos that I have been learning to do up to this point. And then I'm just going to go right into just training stuff. Just more of the same stuff, you know. It's going to, from here on out, it's basically all I have left is to learn the execution. I've learned quite a few combos. A couple more combos I want to pick up. There's some mid-screen, like carry to corner sort of combos I want to grab. Look pretty awesome, so I wanted to try them out. In any case, we'll get to that later. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys, you two, for hanging out through all my driveling and my rambling. Hopefully this video is helpful to somebody. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you guys in about 5-10 minutes.